Chewing through the bullshit of the upper hive like ceramite teeth of rage, shredding the dense vegetation of some far-flung death world. We are the chainsword squeal of pirate Vox Waves 665.66 UHMOC MRAT Radio. The Vizgalita are out in force tonight with sightings of the rogue archivist Katya having been reported in the Minotaurum data sinks on sublevel 5 and 6. After last month's sightings and the riot she ensued, Emotus is pretty hot to make sure that she stays silent and never speaks out against them again. At least we get to enjoy the relatively stable weather, even if we have to dodge all the fuzz. Here at Frank's Ruckatruck, your choicest place for all things Habrat meat. Basking in the beautiful warm afterglow of blue-tinged plasma canisters, I am your friendly neighborhood Goblin King. Joined tonight by my co-hosts, the master of power-hammered revenge, Marky.
You.
And our resident rocket scientist, don't worry, he learned it all through the engineering school of trial and error, Beast.
Hello, everyone.
Still have all your eyebrows?
I really did learn it from trial and error, though. I have never had brute force fail me. Let's just put it that way.
At a certain point.
I've never, ever had brute force fail me. It's always done me right.
Like this one time I really needed to take a shit and just brute force is what pushed it through.
That's what I'm saying, man. I mean, I lost about a pint of blood, but you know. It was only out of my ass, so it's fine.
It's fine.
Fine.
You know, back in the old doctor times, they'd be like, "You're not supposed to have blood in your ass. You're healthier."
Back in the old doctor times, they were like, "You need an ear nail and a butt bleed."
Yeah, it's like bloodletting. It's the same thing.
It sounds like there's ghosts in your blood. Do some cocaine until you feel better.
There's ghosts in your bum.
You need to get one of them ass leeches.
Ass leeches. Oh, gross. It's just hanging out, just like.
You gotta pull it to assist.
Lovely.
Welcome to episode 58 of Under the Hive of Madness, the Planet Spotlight episode for Catachan. This episode was picked by our patrons. And if you want to know more about getting involved with our community and our Patreon, check out both our Discord server and then head on over to patreon.com/underthehiveofmadness. When we originally sat down to lay out all of the lore that we wanted to cover on the podcast, we came up with an overall arc, laying out what factions, what details, and even what hobby and creative writing topics we eventually wanted to talk about and cover. I would say it was probably like a good 3 years of episodes or so. However, as the show has evolved, we've continuously added to the list, expanding where we need to and adding episodes or episode types to that plan. Our most recent examples would actually be the community spotlights, which were designed, and the first one was run by Beast with Noir.
That's right.
The Planet Spotlight episodes, these you can blame for Marky. This is Marky's fault.
What did I do?
You're the one who came up with the Planet Spotlight episodes way back. Well, not really way back. About a year ago, actually.
This is great. He's too sick to defend himself.
You're a piece
of shit. Nobody fucking likes you. You fucking suck.
You're right.
You're
got
right.
nothing. I got nothing. I'm just like,
he can't defend himself. Now's the time.
Was that me?
It was you. And like with our last episode, the Heroes of 40k, which was inspired by Billy, so technically I think we can blame Kev, realistically.
Yeah, Billy was of my creation, actually, so that's probably my fault, too.
Ah, shit, you get blamed for 2 types of episodes?
Yep. Fuck you.
So even though we have it all laid out as a roadmap, we do ask our patrons from time to time to help decide or even suggest what we might do next. Yeah. I lost steam there.
I'm all. Oh yeah, is that how you feel about that one?
That's how it goes.
And that's the end of that chapter.
So if you want to help make some of those decisions, that's one of the ways to get involved with us. For now, though, get out those machetes, prime those las guns. It's time to dive into the world of Catachan. So Catachan is the Imperium of man's most infamous death world, renowned for producing the Catachan Jungle Fighter regiments of the Astra Militarum. Located in the Ultima Segmentum, the entire planet is covered in one massive and dense jungle, a jungle that's entire ecosystem seems to be willfully hostile to all foreign life forms. Every single species of flora and fauna native to Catachan represents a direct threat to any humans that call the world home. Being such a difficult and hostile world, Catachan only has one export it contributes to in the Imperium, and that is its jungle fighters. Many of them are more seasoned veterans, even on day one, than most other guard.
Imagine the movie, or what is it, Pandora from Avatar, except like instead of hippies, they're like fucked.
100% based on the like action movies of the mid 90s.
Yeah.
Like Predator, Commando.
Yeah, like late 90s.
Yeah. All of the like post-Vietnam reaction action films. Rambo, I mean anything within that vein is 100% what Catachan is based on.
Platoon.
Oh yeah, Platoon.
Did you know that Sylvester Stallone had a and I'm saying this because he is, Sly Marbo is a character in the Catachan, and it's modeled after Sylvester Stallone in Rambo. In the original Rambo, Sylvester Stallone was talking about how he wanted to like do some crazy stuff with animals. He wanted to like kill a deer with his bare hands, and show it for the movie. And one of the park rangers for the area that they were in was like, a deer will fuck you up, dude. like here's Sylvester Stallone thinking he's like top dog, and a fucking park ranger's like, that deer will fucking kill you.
You think so?
Oh yeah, no, dude. Like,
hand, do not take a deer on by hand.
Dude,
gore the shit out of you.
People don't understand. Like, there's a reason we evolved to make guns. You know what I mean? Like, we don't fight against animals well. Like, it's not.
Yeah, we are.
Like,
we are an endurance predator. Our primary skill is walking so much that what we're chasing goes off for fuck's sake and gives up.
I was thinking like, Tropic Thunder where he kills the panda.
Yeah, that panda would fucking annihilate him. Like,
yeah, the panda, I was like a little more, I was like, all right, I feel like a panda would fuck him up. But like, I didn't know deer were that dangerous.
Big deer, bucks,
the whole
100%,
reason,
dude.
The whole reason deer have antlers is to fight and stab things. That is the entire reason they have antlers.
You don't
they
feel
don't
like
have...
if you snagged it by the antlers, you could like tussle it to the ground, kind of like they do with bulls and shit?
No, even
not
with
bulls,
people
but...
can't do that shit with bulls, dude. Like,
not bulls. I think they do it with what is it?
A goat?
Like, no, what do they call? What do they do it with bull riders? Like bull riders will send like a. I could have swore it was what the fuck was it? But bull riders will essentially like send. I feel like it's a warthog. I don't think it's a warthog though, because I know warthogs.
It's a pig.
People. It's
probably
pig?
just a pig.
No, hold on.
Well, they grab it. It's. I thought it was like a buck. But
you mean where they like
out.
lasso it and then they tie it up and throw it over?
Yeah, well, they have to.
Yeah,
they have
that
to
is a baby. It's a baby cow.
Baby cow. It's a calf.
Oh, it's a baby.
It's a baby.
So
yeah.
I can't remember how this came up last week, but this actually came up last week, so I'm bringing it up now. But we were at a sports bar, kind of watching the Spain versus Germany game, eating dinner, and one of the other TVs had bull riding on. And like, they dude gets on the bull and they piss the bull off a bunch, and then they open the gate and then the dude gets flung off the bull and like run over like 4 times. Having done roping, like having ranched cattle when I was younger, having a cow smash into your leg and having your leg between a cow and a horse is not a good feeling at all. And that's a non-pissed off cow. That's just a cow that wasn't paying attention and walked into you. Like, I don't understand why people willfully piss off large animals. I don't get it.
No,
that's
like
a deer,
animal. Like the only like animal that I think, God, what was it? They said something. They said the only animal you might be able to kill like barehanded would be like a rabbit. Like maybe. If you could catch it, like it's still gonna bite the shit out of you. Like
that's the thing too. Like,
Jackrabbit just fuck them up.
Yeah, like
oh no, jackrabbits are no joke. They'll kick the fuck out of you. Apparently,
well, but that's what that's what the ranger said to Sylvester Stallone was like the only thing that you could catch and kill by yourself would be a rabbit. Like he's like, dude, a deer. Oh no, like a deer will fuck you up. A pig will fuck you. Like, dude, pigs like.
I know pigs are they don't fuck around.
Dude, the number of people that boars and warthogs kill a year is bigger than you'd think.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the whole point
more than
of
sharks.
That's the whole point of like no, but still fuck sharks. But that is I don't fuck with the ocean. You know this. Yeah. That is the whole like premise I'm getting at here is like, people here think like, oh yeah, like, nah, dude, we invented guns for a reason. So as we didn't have to put ourselves in danger's way, of animals and shit like that. And Catachan is like that
the opposite of that. Yeah.
100% some steroids. Like,
so
like liver king of fucking jungles, like
right. So the other kind of interesting thing is, so you guys know that Pooh, Blood and Honey is coming out, right? The horror movie.
I always thought that was a joke. I didn't think it was a legitimate thing.
Oh, no, it's a legit movie. So there's a dude that just announced a couple of hours ago, today, actually, that he is turning, because Bambi has also come up in public domain. He is making a Bambi horror film.
Dope.
Where Bambi is a malicious deer who strikes from the wilderness to murder people.
Have you seen the one where it's like
The
Rock?
Buddy Thumper.
Yeah, like he's Vin Diesel. Yeah. Vin Diesel is Thumper. And he's like, why do they call you Thumper? He's like, because I'm always Thumper. He's all, what did you say? He's all, always Thumper.
Was that a Key and Peele?
No, it was like just a random The Rock video.
I think it was SNL.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because I'm always thumping.
Yeah. Oh, damn, I lost my train of thought. Oh, for some reason, the whole blood and honey thing always.
There, that one.
Yeah, The Rock,
that's the one. That's Bambi. It's open season.
Right, it's open season.
He's just smoking a cigar. It's so good.
It's just The Rock with fucking furry ears.
Twin desert eagles and fucking deer ears.
The hoof mittens.
Oh my god, the fucking mittens. I didn't even fucking notice that. All right, so you were going to talk about Pooh, Blood, and Honey? Sorry.
I don't know. For some reason, my mind goes really like dark when I think like Pooh, Blood, and Honey. It's like, I don't know. For some reason, my mind goes like shit, blood, and honey.
Yeah, it's like you think of actual poop.
Yeah, I don't know. Just the combination of those words, I'm just kind of like.
I always see
one of the big pictures is fucking Piglet and Pooh sneaking up on a chick in like almost nothing in a jacuzzi, about ready to murder her. So
it's gonna be like Thanksgiving.
Hell yeah, Thanksgiving was so good.
It was
ready to get stuffed.
Gobble, motherfucker.
That bitch got stuffed. Who brought a gravy flavored condom?
Fucking movie, dude.
Isn't the first scene like the turkey
just topless,
killing some naked chick?
Yeah, topless, like big titty so pilgrim.
Yeah, pilgrim chick. Yeah,
so good, dude. Best movie ever.
Yeah, Thanksgiving was a good one.
Yeah. See, I think whenever I hear Blood and Honey, I always think of like a gang movie. I'm like blood in, blood out, but it's like Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
Oh,
milkweed.
Where are these trifling bitches?
My little honey weed.
Have you seen that dude who talks? He's like, oh, I know I do sound a bit like Winnie the Pooh. He's like, here, I'll do a voice for you. Oh, I can't. Where's my honey?
All right. Well, Catachan was colonized well before the rise of the Imperium of Man, sometime during the Dark Age of technology. Exploratory probes identified the world as a verdant, calm, green planet from orbit. Exploratory probes. What's up?
Said from obituary.
From obituary. Yeah, no shit, right? Exploratory probes identified the world as a verdant, calm, green planet from orbit. But all of that changed when the colony ships attempted to make planet fall.
When the fucking nation attacked. Sorry.
As each ship was forced to crash land on the jungle world, and it swallowed them, cutting off even the most desperate hopes of escape. The world revealed itself to be the host of the most dangerous ecosystem in the galaxy. Barely surviving the crash landings, the colonists found themselves besieged by the living and hostile jungle itself, paying for each lesson in how to survive in blood and piled corpses. Over the generations, this pressure cooker of a hostile world bred hardy and stoic people, which eventually caught the notice of the Departamento Minatorum. They realized that the Catachan people would make excellent troops to serve on the most hostile worlds and planetary environments that the galaxy had to offer, and some of the first Catachan Jungle Fighter regiments were raised when the planet was reunited with the Imperium. During the 13th Black Crusade, Catachan was caught in the path of both a wounded void whale and an orc Wa under the freebooter captain Badruk. So a void whale is a massive alien animal that was originally born, or the species was originally born in the currents of the warp, but now exist in the open void of real space. They are close to 1,200 Terran miles in length and are massive enough to host entire ecosystems both on and inside their bodies. Not only can they swim through the void, but they can travel the unnatural tides of the warp without suffering from the effects of the warp. They're pretty crazy. I did not realize how big void whales were, or the fact that they were basically like void traveling ships in a lot of ways.
What do they call them? Like the not narwhal. Are they narwhals? The thing that the Tyranids travel on.
Oh, I think they do call them narwhals.
Are they narwhals?
I think so.
Uh,
I like that whale anyway, so. Boy, it's a
Yeah.
war wall.
but a void whale, huh?
Yeah, they're just massive.
It's just
They're
a giant
absolutely
fucking
Titanic.
It's like a
Yeah.
planet essentially.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Moby Dick of space.
Well, how big is Pluto? It's bigger than Pluto. I guess it's a planet. It's planet sized, right?
As far as I'm
It's-
They said that this
yes.
was 1,200 Terran miles.
1,200 Terran miles. So I don't know how big Pluto is, but we can find out.
Hey Google, how big is Pluto?
Pluto is 738.38 miles in circumference. So yes, this whale is
fucking
bigger.
wrecked, Pluto. Get fucking. This is why you're not a planet, because you're not as big as a void whale. You
Dude,
fucking
hey,
bitch.
I bet you it's
Bitch.
bigger than Earth.
No,
no.
the United States is 3,200 miles from coast to coast.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So it's about the size of the half of the U.S. No biggie.
Half of the U.S. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, get fucking wrecked, Pluto. You
The
bitch.
Earth is 7,917.5 miles in circumference.
7,000. You said?
Yeah, it's not as much as you think.
7,917. It's not as big as you'd think,
Huh.
but
Yeah.
I know coast to coast of the U.S. is 3,200 miles because I've driven it twice, which is actually kind of crazy because that's almost half of how wide the fucking planet is.
I think I've done that drive 5 times.
Yeah.
From
No.
Long Beach to Georgia. I think.
Furthest
done
I've
that
driven
5 or
is
6
like
times.
New Mexico to California. It's about
What
the
was the
furthest.
what was the other void whale question you asked? Oh,
What was the name of the Tyranid
Tyranid.
Leviathan
That
Nar-
big like
narwhal.
scissor mouth looking thing
It's the ones that pull them, the Tyranid warp ships.
has the pincers, floats around in space like I.
Yeah, these are the
pinch.
ones that like control gravity or some shit like that.
Narval. Yeah,
Narval.
Narval.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, they like send out tendrils, and yeah, they don't use the warp. They like manipulate gravity to pull themselves towards things.
Which is just a giant fucking floating black hole thing, which is gnarly.
Yeah, they're crazy looking.
We got a black hole in the
Does it
guts.
say or is there a size for the narvals that they have? Are they
They're
similar?
fucking huge.
I know
like-
they're huge. Yeah, they got to
Yeah,
be similar
they-
to the size of void whales, I would
Yeah,
assume.
they
right?
make fucking Warhammer like battleships look like small.
little ticks. Yeah,
Just
I can't
fly
imagine
around.
there's a typical size for it. If it just so happened to be easy to find the size of a narval,
They just fly
just because they're
around
so gnarly.
burping and farting monsters out.
Yeah, I don't see anything. My guess would be that they probably compare them to the size of an Imperial ship at some place.
Yeah, they're bigger
But I
than
mean-
the what is it? You know, the ship with the big battering ram.
Yeah.
that's a
They're-
big bitch.
They're like 4 times that size.
What's what's the largest what
Imperial
the largest
starship?
Imperial starship. Now I want to know how much bigger than them a void whale is.
Right?
Wouldn't that be the Imperial Fist place?
The one that crashed in
Phalanx.
Yeah, wouldn't that be the biggest
the
ship?
largest? Probably.
Phalanx is the largest one ever built.
But how big is it? Didn't they they crashed it into a planet, right? Or is that the one
that's the Blackstone.
Blackstone Fortress.
Didn't they crash the Phalanx into the Blackstone Fortress?
No.
Or was it the other way? Oh, damn. I thought the Phalanx crashed or was destroyed.
No, Abaddon smashed a Blackstone Fortress into Cadia.
I wish Kevin was here because it's in like the first scene of Battlefleet Gothic 2, and this is where we need Kevin's vast,
it's massively
extensive knowledge of
fucked up of video games.
Video games. Because it's the opening scene.
The Phalanx was almost destroyed during the 13th Black Crusade at the fall of Cadia when it unexpectedly came to the aid of the defenders of the fortress world, first by a demonic infestation that overran the decks during the warp transit, and then by a prodigious firepower of the armada of the Traitor Legion warship gathered in the Cadian system. So It was fucked up by like fire everything. Okay, but how big is it? How big?
The Imperial Fist Phalanx.
All right, are you ready for this?
There's no size document.
We can make a safe assumption.
Redacted.
We can make a safe assumption that the symbol is 20 kilometers across. That way that we get the Phalanx.
What is that in
diameter or width to be 1350 kilometers long, rounded down.
What's that in freedom units?
1350 kilometers to miles. It's going to be like 7 something. 838. So a void whale is larger than the Phalanx.
By at least double, right? Right?
No.
Void whales were 1,700 miles?
1,200 Terran.
1,200
Terran miles. So not quite double.
Okay. So
the Phalanx is like 2/3 the size of a void whale.
That's still pretty gnarly. Like that thing's fucking big. I think they had something similar to that in like Treasure Planet or what is it? Love, Death, and Robots. Didn't they have
void whales? Like void whales are relatively ubiquitous in science fiction. They appear in Doctor Who. They appear in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. They're talked about super briefly in Star Wars Expanded Universe. Yeah. The idea that there's an entire planet or an entire ecosystem or something that takes place on a void whale.
Like the feeling of insignificance next to something that large, you can only imagine.
Where it's like eyeball is the size of a fucking asteroid or something.
Yeah, and you're just like, oh, I'm just a piece of shit.
It's not even going to notice when it hits me. So Captain Badruck is one of the most infamous freebooters and is the commanding officer of the orc pirate warband known as Badruck's Flashkits. He carries Darippa, a massive shooter he looted from an Ogren that has been modified to shoot unstable plasma canisters. The radiation generated by the weapon is said to have caused death to those nearby. He wears a special coat to combat the radiation that comes off of his gun. He also has a trio of Gretchen who follow him around called the Powder Grots, and they carry all of his shit, all of his gear, all of his loot, everything he steals. He is famed to be one of the only things in the galaxy that has hunted down and killed a void whale.
What?
It is unclear if he was on the void whale or chasing the void whale when he came across Catachan space.
So that's almost some like, not Davy Jones. Who's the
Moby Dick?
Ahab. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah. That's some Ahab shit. That's
it. Probably dope. Is like an orc Ahab.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's definitely.
Captain Badruck is definitely getting his own Heroes of 40k.
That sounds super dope.
Episode,
dude, you know what would be fucking hilarious? What's the style of or like what's the origin of the dudes that like put on makeup and wear the white hair and shit like that? Is that old American
like magisters and stuff?
Yeah, where they like
that's a British
Is it British?
Parliament thing.
Yeah. You imagine
I think
an orc
British
like that?
judges still do that.
Yeah, they still wear the wigs.
Yeah. That would actually be hysterical if there
That'd
was
be-
an orc who came
I
across
think
like an
what-
old imperial world
Yeah,
that
dude.
still wore wigs and just decided that was what to do.
Like painted his face white and like dotted
Yeah,
a
I
little
think-
mole and
I think you're thinking of like the French.
yeah.
Like,
Is
yes,
it French?
the French,
I think you're
the
thinking of, like
French-
the French dudes.
Like
Pre First Revolution.
I was gonna say
French
like
court.
Pirates of the Caribbean, right?
Yeah,
Didn't
the
they have
French
like
guys,
yeah, okay. Yeah, an orc
That's what
like
I
that
figured.
has like little grots that follow him around and like powder his fucking face and shit.
The grots are all dressed up too.
The powder grots, yeah, dude.
Oh,
That'd
that's
be
funny.
great.
That's funny. I get
That'd
that
be
now.
fucking great.
So after with the combination of the Void Whale and the Orc Wog, Catachan was assumed lost as the Imperium was unable to warn the planet due to the warp storm called Bos Infernia. Further, after the coming of the Great Rift, Catachan was caught within a malignant warp rift which exposed the planet to a massive demonic invasion. However, when Reboot Gilliman's Indominus Crusade arrived to relieve Catachan, the Astartes warriors found that the local Catachan regiments had already dealt with all of the threats. So Space
yes.
Marines show up to save your ass because your planet's fucked and you're literally just sitting there on top of a bunch of orc and demon corpses going, what took you guys so long?
Yep, exactly. Bitch ass orc. Didn't
Right?
know what hit him. Reminds me of almost like Prey.
Yes.
Like the whole whatchamacallit, Catachan style prey predator.
Yeah, very, very Predator feels, honestly. So human settlements on Catachan are huge fortresses designed to defend themselves against the encroaching jungle at all times. These fortresses are surrounded by vast plains, which have to be constantly cleared to provide improved lines of fire. However, vines, lichen, and other creepers will take hold anywhere. Poisons and corrosives melt mortar and stone, and the sheer size of the vines and creepers that grow on Catachan can entangle and crush bunkers or even uproot and destroy tanks. Or, I guess, uproot bunkers and entangle and destroy tanks. Yeah. I guess you don't root tanks. They're supposed to move. Any building on Catachan needs to be constantly maintained, and in many cases, they are pretty much constantly under some level of construction, as the jungle seems hell-bent to reclaim everything at all times, even appearing to have a will of its own and redouble its efforts to retake any land that has been cleared. It's not only the flora's constant efforts that push back the human invaders and consume their settlements, but the fauna as well. Native wildlife will specifically gather around the settlements, and eventually, growing their numbers large enough, they won't be able to be held back anymore. When the humans are eventually pushed out, the settlement is consumed, disappearing into the dense jungle once again. No settlement on Catachan is permanent, and human colonists are in a constant cycle of founding new fortresses. 50% of Catachan's human population does not survive past infancy, and of those that do survive, 50% will not survive to live past the age of 10 solar years. Every day on the most dangerous planet in the galaxy is a fight for survival. Children are quick to learn survival tactics when only the tough, fast, and those with good aim can hope to survive into adulthood. Children on Catachan are said to learn to shoot before they can walk, much like those of the former Acadia.
Is there much truth? Because I know this has to do with that one guy that lies a lot. I forgot his name. The guy that's constantly making up stories.
Herodotus?
Yeah, Herodotus. I'm bringing it back full circle from last episode.
What was his name in 40k? Like Sipatrix or something?
But in 300, you know how they have like those Spartan children, and they're like, basically throwing them into fights with one another. Very similar, I'm assuming, to Catachan lifestyle.
Sparta,
but is that true?
Sparta makes me feel a little bit more, gives me more Cadia vibes. Like, because on Cadia, everything is about becoming a warrior as fast as possible so you can fight and maintain like the battleground against the demonic invaders. Catachan is like
straight up survival.
It's like any of the stories of like the Aztecs or like, like Apocalypto style stuff. Everything in your entire life is designed to murder you. So if you make it to
Darwinism.
adulthood, you're you're lucky, essentially. They're also, so Catachan is also a like heavier, the gravity is heavier on Catachan. So Catachans grow bigger. They're more, they're
denser.
they're between the size of a person, like a normal human, and the size of an Ogren. They're somewhere in between.
That's gnarly. Are they shorter?
No, they're. I don't remember which book, but one of the books insinuates that a Catachan can stare down a space marine, like an unarmored space marine.
Oh shit!
Like they're almost the same height.
Like
the Catachans are also
time chamber type shit. No, not hyperbolic time chamber. The
training chamber
capsule.
Yeah, but the Catachans are also said. I mean, like again, the Astartes showed up to save them from all this crazy shit, and the Catachans were like, "What took you so long?"
Sup?
Like, yeah, we cleaned that mess up for you. You're welcome.
Oh, its average height is 6'6".
For
a Catachan.
Yeah, 6 foot to 6'6", 290 to 350 pounds.
No, they can top out at like 7 something or something.
Yeah,
like
that's the average.
Yeah, average height 6 to 6'6". That's a gnarly.
Yeah. So basically, maybe an inch or two taller than me.
It's weird because salamanders, I thought, were some of the shortest space marines because they were
the other way around. Salamanders are the tallest.
Well, I thought they were the shortest because of the heavy gravity, but
No.
what's his name? Vulcan was the tallest.
No.
I thought that's what people, because this was in, 5th edition when I was messing with salamanders, but I thought they were the shortest, and I always argued that with a bunch of people. But
so sci-fi is really, really inconsistent about whether or not a dense gravity world makes you short and stocky or strong and tall.
Yeah.
Pick a sci-fi universe and there's the dwarfs of our universe come from this planet with dense gravity. The really tall Olympians come from a dense gravity planet. You're like, but why don't they make the same people? Like, what the fuck?
See, that's what I like about the Tau.
I was gonna say with the Tau,
because they're like they're like Earthcast, super short. Firecast, very strong, and they're like Aircast, super tall and lanky because there's no gravity.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and void
compression, I guess.
And voidborn humans have a tendency to be very, very tall and lanky, very vampiric like.
They call them long bones.
Yep. Long bones.
Yeah, and like some voidborn humans can't land on planets because their organs, their like bodies will crush themselves.
Do you think their testicles are extra saggy because of the harsh gravity?
No. Wait, on Catachan or when you're voidborn?
Anything with dense gravity.
Yes.
Do you think your testicles are longer, or do you think they're
Clingier.
shorter?
They're clingier. They hang to your thigh more desperately.
Yeah, they're on the inside.
They're on the
like. Do you think your body?
Marky, there's a picture up right here. You can see where a Catachan's testicles are. Okay, they're on your chest.
You're gonna tell me that in a world where there are thousands of things to snag your nutsack on, that you're gonna evolve to have a big nutsack? Nah, it's on the inside.
Not big, but long. That's what I'm saying. Do you think they've evolved to where their nuts are like
it's
concave?
A part of the shaft?
It's just part of the shaft. They have extra firm scrotal sac, or do you think it's like?
They've got.
Do you think it's like a third leg? Do you think it's just kind of swing? It's like a tail. Catachans have tails confirmed.
It's a ball shaft.
It's a ball shaft.
It's a ball shaft. God damn.
Yeah. They stitch them to their thighs.
I'm telling you that's what you know how like when it's like when you're in a swampy condition and your balls just hang to your leg because they're like angry with you.
It's because they're trying to find warmth.
That's Catachan. They're just holding on.
I thought they were just trying to air out. Hanging on for dear life.
Hanging on. They're like, listen, why did you bring me to this fucking hellhole?
They
No
just
matter how
wrap it
much
around-
no matter how much you do
Oh,
your
dude.
one leg shake, it won't come off.
Dude, no, they're like Saiyans, man. They like wrap it around their waist because it's so long.
Like the Saiyan's tail.
Yeah,
Jesus
it's like
Christ.
it's the same weakness too. You know, when you grab a Saiyan's tail, it like weakens him. You grab a Catachan by his nutsack, and it weakens him.
Who's that? Do your nuts hang low? Do they waggle to and fro? Can you tie him in a knot? Can you tie him in a bow?
Somebody kicks them in the nuts and like their ball like breaks their shin. They've just adapted to where their nutsack have spikes.
Spikes.
It's like fucking kicking a titanium bearing, ball
Oh my
bearing.
God,
Just like,
dude.
oh. I'm asking
So-
the real questions here.
You are. So being a death world and possibly one of the oldest in the Warhammer 40k universe, Catachan has a lot of development into its flora and fauna. Catachan is referenced in the original Rogue Trader book, and some of this that we're going to cover here in a minute was developed back then. We've talked a little bit about the flora and fauna of Catachan in the past, but we're going to really focus on it as we get forward, because I know that's what everybody really wants. Everybody has been screaming at the episode so far because they just want to hear about the fucking plants. All the plants and animals on the planet are deadly predators that have evolved potent biological attacks and defenses against all other life forms. Many of them specialize specifically in attacking humans. Every known plant species native to the planet is toxic, making foraging for native foods impossible. Plants might spread pollen into the air, which are not only poisonous, but have evolved to specifically destroy air filters and respirators, while others secrete sticky liquids to capture and entrap passing animals, only to slowly dissolve them like giant Venus flytraps and other carnivorous plants. Other plants poison the very ground and can turn the immediate area into boggy wastelands that are designed to trap invaders so they can digest underground. The native animals are also as deadly to humans as the plant life, with the massive insectoid predator, the Catachan devil, having jaws large enough to bisect an Imperial tank. So the first fun one we're going to talk about is the brain leaf, which is a vegetative carnivore.
I wanted to talk about that horny goat weed. Yeah.
That horny goat weed.
Yeah.
We will get to horny venomous plants. Don't you worry, sir.
Oh, they actually have that category?
They have what is it called? The barbed venom grouse and the grapple weed. We'll get there. They don't turn you horny though. They are horny, but they don't make you horny. So the brain leaf is a vegetative carnivore. This small tree is not particularly conspicuous on Catachan, but it is able to attach its tendrils to the spine and brain of any animal, taking control over their body, where it then drives them to a suitable place to plant itself. This creature may actually be the genetic offshoot of a tyrannid cortex leech, a creature with similar abilities that was cut off from the hive mind and went feral. So you walk by this tree. It just looks like a fucking pine tree or whatever. It lashes out with tendrils, attaches itself to your body, and then drives you to a place that looks like the soil is good, and then you just fall over and it plants itself.
Sounds fun.
Right? So the spiker is another deadly plant. It fires spikes into its victims' bodies, which contain the spiker's DNA. This unleashes a series of mutative chemicals into the victim's body, and through a series of reactions, they then transform into another spiker. So this is another plant that if it infects you, you just slowly turn into the plant.
Didn't I come up with the plant that was on Catachan that like it was like something that like shot up and like attached itself to your ass? I feel like
You
this was
did.
in the Necron episode.
You did. You
That-
came up with an ass hook plant.
Yeah.
After we talked about a couple of the Death World, we talked about like 2 Catachan plants and 2 other Death World plants, and you were like, ass meat hooks.
That's the kind of plant that I want to see on Catachan.
The Venus mantrap is a carnivorous plant who has lots of species like it that are spread through many other jungle death worlds across the galaxy. They resemble the Terran Venus flytrap, from which they get their name, but they are far larger, and unlike the flytrap, it's not stationary but able to move its leaves to attack and consume prey. The mantrap consists of a number of mobile leaves attached to a single immobile stem. It's basically Audrey 2 from Little Shop of Horrors.
Or the chomper thing from Mario. The hell do they call that thing?
That's based on Audrey 2 from Little Shop of Horrors.
Is it?
But yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, dude.
That was before Mario?
Oh, yeah. Little Shop of Horrors was like a 70s.
Oh, shit.
Actually, I think it was like a 50s play, but it was like a 70s movie.
Hey, Mark, do you have your phone on you?
Yeah, it's like dead, though.
Wait.
Oh, God.
Do I even want to know?
No, you don't. It's real
Okay.
gross.
Okay.
Why would you send this to me? Why is Discord allowing this right now? I said I didn't want to see it, Tom.
All right.
I just
So
said
this-
like surgery balls. There you go. It's all ball and shaft.
They're so smooth. It's like they got Botox on their nutsack. Like an egg.
Or what was there's an anime, I can't remember the name of it, but like the main villain, like he doesn't wear pants and he's just got like a long like shaft with a big like spiky ball at the end of it.
Oh,
What the fuck?
yeah.
So
I know
like,
what you're
and
talking
it's like
about.
FLCL or something.
God, what is? I remember.
He like
Fully Cooley?
spins it around. Yeah, dude.
Is it Fully Cooley?
Fully Cooley.
It may
Yeah, I
have
think
been
so.
Fully Cooley.
God, dude, I remember watching that on Adult Swim at like 3 a.m, thinking like, "What the fuck is like? Am I too tired to understand what's going on right now?
Yeah, real weird.
No,
Or is this like fucking show just that weird?"
Yeah, it's real weird.
it's that weird.
I just remember him
Fully
having like
Cooley.
a dick forehead.
I
Maybe it
remember
wasn't
watching.
FLCL.
I remember watching that.
I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to ask one of my friends because I know she'll know it. Anyway, the spore tree's hanging branches hold dangling flowers, which launch a cloud of spores when they detect something moving close by, hoping to carry their seeds to other fertile areas. The spore cloud is so dense that creatures which disrupt the tree often choke and die. This is also useful to the spore tree as its victim's decaying body will enrich the ground around its roots. So this
Wow.
one isn't necessarily trying to kill you, but it shoots out so many spores you're gonna fucking die anyway. So
It just
get wrecked.
It's like the
it just
alien
fucking
revenant.
bukakes you to death.
Right.
Taste my spray.
The
Breathe
strangle
in deep black.
the
Nice and deep
strangle
black.
plant prefers shady spots. Jesus Christ, Mark. The strangle plant prefers shady spots to grow in, where its distinctive tube-like trunk is hidden from view. When it detects the air disturbance caused by passing animals, its long, highly adhesive stamen uncoils, wrapping itself around the prey and dragging them back to die of dehydration. So
Sorry,
because
it's
I
what?
know you're going to ask, Marky, the stamen is the male fertility part of the plant.
So it strangles you with it's like it's
It
like
strangles
fucking
you with its dick.
it's like what's the show? Not The Boys. It's like the sausage guy.
Oh yeah,
It's the fucking
tube
it's
snake.
yeah.
Tube sausage or whatever.
Is his name
Oh
Tube
my
Steak?
God.
It's not
Something
Tube
like
Steak.
this, tube
That's what he-
snake.
That's what he
Tube
calls
Snake.
it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Tube Steak works too, I guess.
Yeah,
But
it's
tube,
like,
tube,
or like sausage something.
you gotta
yeah.
be you gotta be a little more open minded, man. Come on. Just get-
Tube snake.
So the Kanak floater is a plant filled with lighter than air gases. It drifts across the planet with the vagrancies of the wind, dragging its sensitive feeler tentacles, which it uses to detect differences in temperature and moisture. This is originally so the plant can discover streams, hot springs, and other sources of water. However, it is also sensitive enough to detect the temperature and moisture change caused by humans. When it finds such a place, the floater explodes, scattering its seed pods over a wide area. These seed pods have diamond-hard outer casings with razor-sharp edges that will scythe through anything within range. So it's a fucking biological claymore mine.
Flying,
It's-
bouncing Betty.
You know,
Yeah.
it's what do they call those? Biovores or what are those?
Yeah, the spore mines.
Yeah,
Essentially.
spore mine, dude. Like you fucking, it's Tyranids.
It's Tyranids got to Catachan, got cut off from Catachan, and devolved into a
I'm
bunch
like-
of horrid bullshit.
I feel like that alien dude. That's like it's probably aliens, but I'm just like it's
It's
Tyranids.
probably
Alien-
Tyranids.
It's probably Tyranids. Like, every time
They have
we
the
talk
crazy
about
hair.
every time we talk about Catachan, I'm like that guy needs to do a special.
Fucking aliens.
The ancient
telling
alien
you,
guy,
it's
but
like, yeah.
ancient Tyranids.
Yeah, he's like it's probably Tyranids. It's like,
dude, I gotta
Not
watch
saying
I
it's
gotta watch the
scary.
video clip. I've only ever seen like the meme picture
The
of him
memes of
saying
it, yeah.
alien, but I've never actually seen the video of him talking about it.
Dude,
If he
I
actually sounds crazy or not.
Ancient Aliens is one of those shows that like I'll put on if I'm sick and at home and I need to sleep and I'm just like I need noise on in the
Something
background.
in the background, yeah.
Because like I'm not gonna pay attention. I'm not gonna stay awake at all. But it's soothing.
it soothes me.
So the myral catcher is a ground-hugging vegetation with roots that are extremely sensitive to vibration. Much like those that might be caused by an animal wandering past, it looks incongruous enough when dormant. It looks innocent enough when dormant, but when it attacks, huge tentacle whips from its many frilled maws and lash out. They carry paralyzing toxins which act almost instantaneously upon their prey. I think this is what you based your butt latch thing on.
Yeah, because I think what really like brought it to my attention
Were the tentacle maws?
was Jumanji, where the flower like sprouts out of the floorboard and shoots her in the neck. I was like, dude, that'd be fucking hilarious if that was something that like just sprouted out of the ground and shot you in the ass with flesh hooks.
Yep.
You're just like,
It's like a graboid.
It's like Forrest Gump. Something bit me.
So the sucker tree is another fairly innocent-looking plant, at least to the untrained eye. It appears as a fungal-like growth on top of a seemingly normal tree trunk. However, the trunk can twist and turn when it detects prey, bending over to drop its suckers onto its victims. It then quickly drains them of life fluids and flings the corpse as far as it can to ensure that future victims are not able to figure it out by the suspicious pile of bodies piled underneath the tree.
It's the Gluck Gluck 9000 plant.
Right?
Or, I'm sorry, mushroom, whatever it is. fungal thing.
Mushroom.
The spitting cactus is a deadly form of jungle cactus. I don't understand what a jungle cactus is, but we'll just go with it. And is able to fire toxin-coated spines directly at nearby prey.
It's like the tarantula sex cactus.
Yes.
The what?
That's a thing.
Goddamn tarantula. You never heard of the tarantula sex cactus?
Can you
Is this a thing that exists?
Can you
Yeah.
please?
So
Does it get tarantulas to sex with it?
Yeah. So literally. So my buddy told me this story. He was at a friend's house, and they had just had a new baby. They'd have their house decorated, all this stuff. So he's over there, and they're having like a little hangout. He goes in to check on the baby. Well, like in the hallway, there's this big fucking cactus, like that they got as like a gift. And he goes by it, and he thinks he sees it moving, but he's like, whatever, Goes back in there later on in the night to check on the baby again, and the cactus is like vibrating, right? So he thinks like, the cactus is probably next to an air conditioner or something, like no big deal. So later in the night, he goes back in there, and the cactus is like rocking back and forth.
Is there a bunch of spiders fucking in it?
So they call the like nursery where they got this cactus from, and all they said was, "Get out of your house."
Oh God.
And so he's like, oh shit. So he goes running in there, runs into the baby's room, grabs the baby. And as he's running out, the cactus fucking explodes, right? Shooting like, spines everywhere, but also shooting thousands upon thousands of baby tarantulas.
Oh my God.
So what they do is they find these cactuses, they cut a hole in them, they go inside, they bury their egg sac, and then they leave. And the cactus like regrows and then seals the egg sac in there. So what this thing had done, and the joke was that this thing must have been like the fuck shack of like the only cactus in town, and they're like, "Yo, everybody into the cactus!" Like, 'cause it was like 8 egg sacs in the thing. So it's like the goddamn tarantula sex cactus.
What's the fucking was it? Oh man, what was the movie with Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg? It's like the back of the fucking. It's like the back of Will Ferrell's Prius.
The other guys or something.
The other guys.
Yeah. It's your classic hobo fuck shack.
It's like, what is it, like Joe and the Dirty Boys or some shit like that?
Joe and the Boys.
Oh my god, dude. So the Catachan mantrap is another carnivorous plant, and while it looks very similar to the Venus mantrap, it uses much more aggressive hunting techniques. It can actually move using its leaves and actively searches out prey, clamping its jaw-like leaves around any victim that it finds. So the strangle vine is a plant that prefers shady spots to grow in, where its distinctive tube-like trunks are hidden from view. When they detect the disturbance caused by passing animals, their long, highly adhesive stamen uncoils, wrapping themselves around their prey and dragging it back to the base of the plant where they die of dehydration. So unlike the other one where it drags it back and then eats it, this drags it back and then you basically just hang underneath the tree and or underneath wherever the vine is as your like body slowly like gets drained of all its fluids. You just imagine like walking into a portion of like the jungle and there's just like hundreds of corpses hanging from the fucking canopy.
Yeah,
just
it's called the fucking Amazon.
Yeah, no shit, right? Various states.
The fact that
decay.
there's a list this long of a bunch of shit on one single planet is already just terrifying enough.
Oh man, there's some great stuff coming up too. The shard-rack spines, also known as devil's teeth, are an invasive species of jagged formations of fossilized organic matter that have hardened over thousands of years, forming razor-sharp walls of crystalline-like growth that seem to burst from the ground. This is a fairly typical sight on lots of different death worlds. They're menacing, bizarre battle zones where only the strongest or most foolhardy dare to fight. They form impenetrable barriers that hamper movement and are able to mortally wound anything that might come near. Their strange shapes and sharp spines can pierce armor as if there was nothing there. So this isn't necessarily a plant so much as it is like, I guess, fossilized plants, like what are the petrified forest style thing?
Just shoot out sharp.
It's like a
teeth.
sarlacc.
Oh, it doesn't do anything. They're just there. Like if you brush against them, it'll shear through your armor. This doesn't actively attack you. It's just there.
Oh, I thought it exploded.
No.
Oh, okay. So it's just it's like almost like obsidian. But,
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
It's fairly typical if you look at like a lot of Death World terrain stuff that's been released. It's that you've got some of it. It's that coral stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the one that stabs me all the time every time I pull it out of the box.
Yeah. Where the actual model draws blood. Yeah, that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the barbed venom gross is next. This plant is possessed of a primal cunning sentience. It's highly adaptable and stalks anything that lives, able to generate new weapon-like growths and toxins through its life cycle while injecting debilitating neurotoxins that are invariably fatal to any they come in contact with. Commonly found with a collection of dead animal bones, xenoskeletons, and the odd, unfortunate, desiccated guardsmen entangled within their roots or within their boughs. The venom from a single one of these xenos weeds is enough to kill an entire hive city. So if you were to like get the venom from one of these and put it into a hive city's water supply, everyone's dead, which is fucking insane. Barbed venom growths have mesh-like leaves, buds, and barbed flowers, which form a thick tangle of thorned creeper vines. They can produce deadly subforms like the grappleweed. The next one, the grappleweed. The most common and deadly subform of the barbed venom growth, the grappleweed is a hideous alien plant with stumpy bushes that have trumpet-like flowers, able to shuffle across the landscape in search of fresh morsels for prey. The withering barbed tentacles are a deadly menace that will drag any prey with its grapple-barbed tongue into the fleshy trumpet for eventual digestion. This is like your plant.
Fleshy trumpet, dude.
Fleshy trumpet. This is a ravenous carnivorous plant that tumbles towards its prey with astonishing swiftness before dousing it with highly corrosive chemicals and consuming the slurried remains. This is like the plant in Jumanji that bursts from the floor. That nice. Makes me think of this.
The fleshy
That's
trumpet.
That's it for the flora. We're done with flowers.
That's a sex move.
That's the fleshy trumpet.
Ready for the fleshy trumpet, baby.
Yeah, dude, that big ass plant at the end of Jumanji, the big yellow one, that one did look very fleshy. I didn't I wasn't appreciative of the way they made that one look.
That's 100%. The thing that I just read is that thing. Because the flower is like a big trumpet.
One of the few movies where they really did make a plant scary.
Yeah.
That purple one, when it shoots her in the neck, dude, you're like, ooh, like
you're like, oh, that hurt.
Yeah, dude. Like she just pulls it out. Like, dude, I would have if I was a kid that age, man, I would have been like, ah.
I can't look.
Yeah, dude, she's all and like pulls it out. Like, dude, I would have been like, ah. Like,
does it look bad?
Dude,
don't tell me. Does it look bad?
Dude, as a kid, I'm like, why didn't?
Inch into her neck, dude.
As a kid, I was like, man, why didn't she fucking dodge it?
Why didn't you dodge it?
Why didn't you fucking dodge it, you
man,
dumbass?
You got way too few dice in dodge, bitch.
Right? And if it did it, dude, I would have been so angry. Like, I would have stomped that little fucking flower out and then stabbed it with its own barb. Like, you fucking, fuck you.
Well, yeah,
you would have burned
so
it.
Pissed.
Right? Mark would have been in the scene. He'd be like, yeah, all right.
Instantly dead.
You know, and you're like, you would have been hit by that fat rhino at the end of the fucking
right?
stampede.
Yeah, the last one in the stampede.
You would have been like, oh, I guess it's over. And it would have been like, and then just knocked you over.
Fucking,
probably would have been fucking killed by Van Pelt.
That pelican would have fucking bit your ass.
It's like the reboots. You would have wandered off, all flustered, found the river, and gotten eaten by a hippo.
Yeah, Nah. He would have been fucking bit by a mosquito. That's
definitely.
First thing. Mark's dead.
Who would have died when they read that their weakness was cake? That's who I wanted to know.
Oh my god, that shit was so good. That'd be me.
I
can't eat cake. I can't eat cake. It makes me explode.
So we're moving on to Catachan Fauna. So one of the most infamous and deadly animals on Catachan is the Catachan Devil. This ferocious insectoid predator looks somewhat like a many-limbed Terran spider, scorpion, or centipede. They can be as long as a land train, but are very bulky and kind of slow-moving, which means that escape is possible from one of those that an unlucky human happens to confront. However, they are large enough to eat a fucking tank.
Oh, goody.
Yeah.
And it's just a big ass, like,
spider,
centipede, scorpion type thing.
Yep, basically.
Like that thing from The Witcher.
There was something like that in The Witcher?
The big centipede thing. Where he's like, this is not a normal fucking insect.
Everybody just looks at him like, no shit.
Yeah, well, remember he like finds that tree looking thing, and then he's like, oh, and then then like the fucking centipede thing like rips it in half, and he's like, fuck.
That's like half of his lines in
I know.
Witcher. Fuck. Shit.
Fuck. All right, so
I wonder if the word fuck was actually around in olden times. Like, you know how they use that shit in Spartacus, like, religiously?
So there was a breakdown of this not that long ago, and I think Kevin may have actually brought it up in like one of the episodes, to tell you the truth. But fuck was around back in the like 17 and 1800s. At the least, we know that the word existed as of like, oh, I know. So this came up in another podcast I listened to. So specifically, they were covering like some of the Old West stuff, and like what is it, Deadwood, like cocksucker, motherfucker, dick fuck is like they say shit like that all the time.
Yeah,
all of those words existed back then. They were in common usage, but they didn't hold the vulgarity that they do now.
Really,
the things that were super
cunt,
vulgar,
I guess, almost.
Yeah, kind of. The things that were super vulgar back then were like, "Oh, you prissy dandy boy."
Like that held more like
that was a bigger insult than you fuck than you fuck face, you motherfucker. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's just because like shit shifts over time.
Because you know how like in have you guys seen Spartacus?
Yes.
Where they're like his fucking cock, and I'm like, did they really say that though?
He's all the cock on you.
They probably. they probably talked like that. They probably didn't use those words.
The word cock.
Ah, Jupiter's cock.
Yeah, right. I'm like,
That's
really?
my favorite one.
Really?
So the general state of the empire during that time was very, very decadent. Very, very realistically, the fall of the Eldari and the fall of Rome are very parallel, like design wise. So very, very hedonistic. Fuck parties were a thing.
Yeah.
You know,
the whole eating of grapes and shit. Like when you talk about that,
they would literally have sex with young boys and other men, and you know, women would have sex with younger girls, and like it was just very, very debaucherous and very, very
similar to, like you said, the fall of the Eldar.
Yeah, very, very much. And that's why pit fighting was, and like gladiatorial combat was so amazing, like, sought to them
after,
because it was bloodletting, and there's that scene in Spartacus that I think we talked about in one of the Eldari episodes where, like, you know, that down in the pit there's two people fighting to the death, but like in the stands there's some dude just railing a chick, and like her tits are flopping out, and the dude next to them is honking on her boobies while it's happening. Like that type of shit was happening at that point.
Honking on her tatas.
Just honking on them.
Honking on her boobs.
Just reach over and honk on out.
No, seriously, when I watched Spartacus, I was like, what the fuck is going on right now?
Yeah, so like good. that language, the intent of that language is probably being used, but like the Greeks didn't say, the Greeks and Romans didn't say cock and fuck, because
that was a little more
English
elegant
words.
I guess.
Well, they were probably just as vulgar, but they were, you know,
more elegant.
Instead of cock, it was like C V C backwards K in Latin, and I don't know how you pronounce that.
Once again, the gods insert cock in ass.
But yeah, when they went around and like translated some of the Latin that had been like scrawled on things from that period, it's literally people like Jimmius fucked Saracasis at this corner. Saracasis is the best hooker on the block. Tip her one extra and she'll let you put it anywhere twice. Like that was the graffiti. Like it was,
really?
It was 100% just that was where that empire had reached. That empire had reached a point where
the hedonistic tendencies were just at an all-time high.
Yeah. And the barbarians were literally at the gates. Just ready for the slightest crack to destroy everything.
It was like Sodom.
Yeah. Don't turn around, you'll turn into salt. Okay. So this is probably one of my this is probably one of my favorite what the fuck creatures I have ever read about in any science fiction universe, hands down.
It looks like a bunch of toast on a tree.
Blankets, but yes. Like washcloths, but yes. So on a planet that was made infamous for its hostile life forms, the Catachan face eater is considered to be one of the most unpleasant. In its natural environment, the creature hangs from low branches near water sources or anywhere prey is known to travel. It appears as a simple scrap of cloth to anyone from a distance, and they basically hang down or hang right at the edge so that they kind of are hidden in plain sight. So it looks like a scrap of cloth, like maybe a chunk of camo cloth got ripped off, or maybe somebody lost their fucking towel or something. When prey comes within range of the face eater, it will drop or use its powerful muscles to fling itself in the direction of the creature's head, wrapping hundreds of tiny but viciously sharp hooks into the victim's scalp and neck. Once attached, it will not only suffocate its prey, but also use powerful digestive acids to begin to feed as it slowly kills. The creature is difficult to remove once attached, as any of the damage dealt to it naturally travels on to the prey that it's attached to. Those lucky or fast enough to remove one are often left with serious, if not fatal, wounds. Once its victim is dead, the creature lays a clutch of eggs which hatch in a matter of hours as larva-like maggots. These maggots then feast upon the remains of the corpse. This rapid maturity rate has caused the creature to be quite the threat to nearby star systems, where this towel-like appearance and fondness for warm, damp conditions, such as those found in your bathroom, have helped it spread. Face eaters were once imported to Necromunda and released into the heating vents of Hive Primus in a poorly conceived attempt to control the colony's vermin and deviant scum. However, the creature became endemic, spreading through the uncharted miles of pipes to travel all over Hive Primus with impunity. In the warm and moist vents, they flourished, and within a few short months had become a bigger threat than the vermin that they had been brought in to eradicate. Extermination campaigns were launched and have been at the very least ensured that the face eaters are now confined to the Underhive, where the prevalence of more toxic conditions keep their numbers relatively low.
Dude.
The Imperium does this from time to time, by the way. They're like, oh, this is a great creature. Let's move it somewhere. Oops.
Dude, can you imagine this thing coming out of like the fucking the pipes of your toilet, like just attaching itself to your asshole?
It wouldn't. It would come out of your toilet, and then it would crawl up your wall, and it would hang in place of your face towel. And then when you went to go wipe your hands off, it would grab your face and start eating your face.
Dude, so it's straight up like a face hugger.
Yes. Like down to laying eggs in your gullet.
But worse.
Because it
Definitely
looks like
worse.
a towel. It looks like a towel. It 100% looks like a towel.
That's also not true. I mean, I don't know. It depends. Do you want like a 12-inch long shaft getting shoved down your throat and getting, you know, seeds inseminated, or do you want a bunch of towel-looking things attaching to your face via flesh hooks and eating you alive? I mean, they're both pretty bad.
I mean, either way, you did.
Yeah. Well, the alternative also is one is you die slow. The other is you have something burst out of the inside of your body. So I mean, I don't know. They're both pretty bad.
Yeah. And like if your buddy's there and he catches the thing as it's leaping towards your face and somehow gets it off of you, you could still die. It could rip off half your face.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
You're just fucked. So
it's all right, man. It'll just make a cool scar. You're fine. You're fine, dude.
As I was like reading all of this in preparation, I was thinking of some of the like scars that you can put on your Dark Tide characters. That, like literally just like there's a whole patch of your face that's just pockmarked scars. I'm like, hey, what happened to your face? I got too close to a face eater.
Fucking face eater, man. You don't think I'm fucking sensitive? Like,
goddamn murder hanky.
Murder hanky?
That's like fucking murder hanky.
Or like again, like it could look like a scrap of camo cloak. So you could be like tracking somebody through the forest thinking you're hot on their trail and you're like, oh, it's right there. And then it fucking eats you and you're just dead.
I'm getting closer. What the fuck?
So speaking of just great plans that the Imperium has put into motion, the great quadrupeds called groks, although originally native to Solomon's system, are also found on Catachan, perhaps brought by the early human colonists. The animals are prized for their highly nutritious and tasty meat and have been introduced to many worlds throughout the galaxy. This has made the groks one of the most ubiquitous livestock animals in the Imperium. The groks, however, are extremely ornery and virtually impossible to keep under control without some form of brain implant or lobotomy at birth. On Catachan, they have all become wild and are incredibly deadly predators.
This is the cow, right?
It's like
the cattle.
It's like the lizard cow dino thing.
Oh, damn.
Groks are weird looking. They look like wingless dragons.
Can you milk them?
Yes, Greg. Sorry. Do I have nipples, Greg? Can you milk me?
You can basically milk anything with nipples.
Oh, God.
Wait, but I want to know, where did they get the milk out of the almond?
You want some blue milk?
Almond nipples.
So the shambling mammamorphs are next. These are native to the volcanic lands of Catachan and are tough fighters, and they put up a good fight even against the Catachan devil, and we know nothing else about them except they're like simian, they're like reptile simians. If you cross like an ape with a with a if you cross like a chimpanzee with a reptile, like a velociraptor, there
isn't anything like that.
Kowakian monkey lizard.
Yeah, yep. Can you imagine like an alligator, but it had fucking muscles like a goddamn ape?
Chimp.
Yeah.
You know how fast you'd be fucked?
Yeah, dude. Like the claws, the teeth, plus the scale like armor. Like
it's basically a Croxagore.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
That's terrifying. Like, what do you do against that?
So Catachan... Get wrecked. So Catachans also host... Or Catachan hosts a huge array of venomous serpents, including the flying swamp mamba, the coiling death cobra, and the Catachan black viper, all of which are deadly to most living beings, some which have toxins that are so powerful they will kill you in under 30 heartbeats. I like that they have a flying mamba, because the normal mamba isn't scary
wasn't
enough.
Bad enough. Yeah.
Let's make it fly.
Let's give it wings.
Speaking of horrible things that fly, next is the drake bat. Drake bats are ogre-sized winged pseudo-reptiles that lurk amongst the upper canopy of the equatorial jungles of Catachan, descending from the treetops to ambush and devour unsuspecting prey. They're fucking ogre-sized bat lizards.
So it's like...
Why does that exist?
It's
what the fuck?
It's like man bat, but a fucking lizard.
Yes.
It's fucking... Jesus Christ, dude.
These are pretty great. The great barking toads. Although they appear benign and are mostly harmless, they are extremely volatile creatures. They are easily startled, and anything it finds threatening might cause it to explode in a cloud of toxins. These toxins kill anything within a very wide, about 1 kilometer area, including the barking toad itself. The barking toad toxin is virulent enough that even respirators and sealed suits such as power armor offer no protection, and no other known substance can halt its destruction. They are known as the most toxic creature in the entire galaxy. So this isn't dangerous into itself, just don't startle it.
Dude, it's like a fucking desert tortoise, but it actually causes damage.
But
its defense mechanism actually works. Like the desert tortoise, if you startle it, it fucking pisses itself and dies.
So if you're in a swamp in Catachan and you startle one great barking toad, does it set off a chain reaction that kills everything in the fucking swamp? Because it's a kilometer wide destruction area, right? Like they just pop off, right? Like daisy chaining fucking power cables.
Like how much do you have to breathe before it's like lethal, and if you hold your breath, will you be okay?
No. If you're within that kilometer area, you're dead. The toxins are so virulent that they go through sealed power armor. These things kill space marines. Being in space marine armor does not save you from this.
So it's not a toxin that you breathe in. It's just a toxin that
exists.
Exists.
I mean, I guess
neurotoxin, I guess, because it can get through your skin and be ingested that way.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you're in power armor and you're holding your breath and you're at the edge of one, maybe you would be kind of fine, but I imagine probably not.
How long does it take to spread a kilometer? I guess is the real question.
I mean, it's an explosion,
see it?
So it's got to be pretty fast, right?
Kilometer?
No, like I mean, most animals like travel in groups, right? So if you set one off, you're gonna set like 7 off.
Oh yeah. Unless it's like forbidden love, you know, they don't really ever find a mate. And if they do, like that's when maybe they have like 100 and then they all separate.
And just hope to God that none of them startle each other while they're leaving.
Yeah, when it's mating season for those barking tree frogs, you know, you got to be careful because then you're just setting off.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you just imagine like you're sitting down with your honey on Catachan, you're whispering sweet nothings, maybe watching whatever the equivalent of Netflix and chill is, and just in the distance you hear these popping noises. And
I wonder what the death cry is.
They turn to you and go, "What is that noise?" And you're like, "Nothing, baby. It's just the barking toads going off."
Oh my God, dude.
Toad like farts and scares itself. It's all.
That's why they have to clear so much like ground around the fortresses. It's actually not for anything else. They're just trying to keep the fucking toad away.
Oh my god, dude!
Careful, you don't spook the toad.
So the blood wasps are next. These are swarms of small, deadly insects that are known to eat their prey alive, stripping them to the bone in under an hour. So flying piranhas.
I've seen this in an anime before.
So heretic ants. These, by the way, this is the biggest dad joke I have come across in Warhammer. Heretic ants are named as they always attack the prey's feet or their souls first. One bite from the insects will put a fully grown man in the infirmary for a month. 2 bites will give them a day to find treatment before dying. And 3 simply kills you outright. Yeah, you like that, the heretic ant?
Now,
is that a joke worthy of the podcast?
This is an amazing one. Now,
it's our Khorney joke for the day.
Now, how dickish are these things? Like, will they bite you once, and then if you leave them alone, it won't bite you again? Or is it going to be like, oh, motherfucker, I bite you once, and like, oh, you're still here, I'm going to bite you. Like, a second later, he'll bite you again? Like, or is it like, oh, if you keep fucking with it, it'll keep biting you?
I think
is it like a
probably
hornet?
Like red. I think it's probably like red ants. But maybe it is. Maybe it's like that snail. You've heard that thing where like, it will give you instantly get $100 million, but at the same time, there's a snail somewhere that's trying to kill you. And the guy like goes through the way that he's going to try to get away from the snail. It's just the ant, like the ant bites you on the foot once, and then they're dragging you off to the infirmary, and the ant's just prancing along behind.
Like, motherfucker, I'm gonna get the second one.
Right. You get into the infirmary, and the ant's just like in the corner, like.
Just biding his time.
Yeah, just every time you look over, it like gives you the shifty eyes. It's all.
It's just an ant that has like a huge vendetta against this one fucking Catachan guardsman. He waits like
one motherfucker.
Every 3 weeks, he makes sure he bites him just to put him back in the infirmary. Wakes up, checks his calendar. Oh, it's Bite Joe's foot day. better head off to work. Oh my god, dude.
The cat's just like, I swear to God, it's the same fucking ant.
Every time that dude like it's like talking with the cat, he's like, man, I was so sick last week. They're like, yeah, man, we know. He's like, yeah. Like looks over his shoulder, ant's all in the corner, pops his head around the corner. It's like
it's standing on its back 2 legs, rubbing both of its front legs together. Like,
how big are these ants?
I'm assuming ant sized.
Damn.
Yeah, right. It's cat.
Maybe like
it's probably the size of a cat.
Yeah, no,
it's probably
dude,
like
I was gonna
bullet
say
ant sized. I would guess. Probably.
I was gonna say, you guys ever seen Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
Oh, dude.
It's like
dude,
that fucking size.
Good old Auntie, dude. He's a fucking hero.
It's anti-sized. It's like, dude, you can only survive one fucking bite from that thing. Are you serious?
Have you guys heard of the survival crafting game called Grounded?
Yeah, my buddies have been trying to get me to play it.
It's apparently Honey, I Shrunk, like being in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, but you're stuck in the yard. You can't get into the house. It sounds interesting.
I just saw one where he's like, man, this little punk ass little spider, like kills a little spider. He's a little piece of shit, and then turns around and it's just like giant spider. He's like, and he literally turns around and he's like, ah! Like the mic cuts out because he screams so loud.
Don't you talk to me or my son ever again. All right, so vein worms secrete an ooze that numbs their prey when they bite so that they cannot feel the things that come next. The worm then digs their way underneath their prey's skin and into the bloodstream to lay their eggs. The eggs will spread all around the host's body, and when the larvae hatch, they eat their way through the host's brain, heart, and then bones. There is no known cure for vein worms once they have entered the bloodstream. So oddly enough, in the Eisenhorn books, it's either Eisenhorn's schoolmate or one of Ravener's schoolmates, like in the Inquisition, when they're interrogators, when they're like later on in life actually dies of vein worms. He's very, very old, and he basically, they're eating his way into his brain. and it looks like he acts like in the novel like a patient with Alzheimer's. Like he forgets a bunch of stuff constantly. But at one point, somebody is talking to him, and they can see the worms in his eyes. Like they can see the worms wriggling around inside of his eyeballs.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tight.
It's creepy as fuck. So mentioned only in name, but we have no lore to go on, are the death flies, the Catachan water drakes, the Catachan blood flies, the Catachan pus worms, because vein worms weren't horrible enough,
All right.
and spine borer leeches.
All right, pus worm. What do you think this does?
I'm guessing that it probably like bites you. It's another worm. It probably bites you. It probably feels like a mosquito bite or something, but then the welt just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then like you get that big like pustule on your arm, and when it bursts, just all of these worms start leaking out of it everywhere. That's my guess.
Now how do you make that worse?
What I just said?
Yes.
It that when it bursts open, they just continue to bite you in different places. Because then there's a bunch of little ones on you. It's like being a poxwalker, but like
a living poxwalker.
Yeah,
well, I
you're
guess
alive and you're
a
in
sentient
pain.
poxwalker, I guess.
Yeah.
Doesn't
sound
like,
fun.
Like Black Plague, right? Because Black Plague is the thing that gives you like all the boils that are like super contagious, right?
Boils.
Yeah, I would imagine that's exactly what pus worms do. You probably don't get one pustule when you get pus worms. You're probably fucking covered in them. And you can probably see them like swimming around under the surface.
You're just covered in them.
Oh my God, dude. And then like you accidentally, like it doesn't take much to burst the things. You just like accidentally brush up against something.
It's like you're just a walking herpy.
Oh.
And they're probably not small. They're probably not like the size of maggots. I would bet they're like the size of baby snakes. So they're like bigger than Earth. They've got to be.
Nah,
it's,
it's from King Kong.
King Kong?
Yeah, King Kong. Or the dude who plays Smeagol, like he falls down, he's in that like mud pit, and they're like eating him.
Yeah,
I don't remember that, but I guess.
Oh man, that's like that scene like still haunts me.
The first one?
No, it's the
Kong
big,
Island?
it's Percy Jackson King Kong. Not Percy Jackson. What am I talking about? What's his name? Peter Jackson.
It's the first. It's the first remake. It's not the one that's part of the Montauk.
It's the one with it's the one with Jack Black.
Okay, yeah, I think I remember.
It's got Adrian Brody, Jack Black. It's got what's her
Andy
name?
Serkis.
Yeah, it's a really good one. It's a great King Kong. I thought it was actually one of the best.
I really liked all the Kongs and Godzillas that came out.
I think Kong Island is my favorite Kong film. To boot.
Oh, Skull Island.
Yeah, it's fucking badass.
It's cool.
It's a little weird that what's his face is the pilot in it, because I don't really see him as a serious actor. I see him as a comedic actor.
Who's that?
The dude from Step Brothers. I can't remember his name.
Oh
not Will Ferrell.
The other guy.
John C. Reilly.
Yes, I was like the dude who's in like a bunch of shit that for some reason I can't. Yeah, John C. Reilly. I like his character, but he's definitely the wild card in that film. Everyone else is a lot more stoic and serious, and then he's just
but I mean, the only reason I didn't like that one is because like the gorilla, like Kong, doesn't behave like a gorilla. Like King Kong, the Peter Jackson one, like dude, that's a fucking gorilla. Like it behaves like a gorilla. You know what I mean? Like Skull Island Kong is just like a dude. He just like walks around. That's true. Like
he is straight up like a dude scratching his ass, just trying to go about his day.
Yeah,
I like
octopus and shit. Like
he's like just chilling, man.
Yeah,
I like the water buffalo are really cool, and then the skull ripper things.
The way that they made Skull Island,
monsters are cool.
The way that they made Skull Island in that movie, really good.
Yeah.
Crazy weird spiders, like monsters, things like that. Super good. Way better than the King Kong the
Peter Jackson one.
Yeah, the Peter Jackson King Kong, but
although there is a pretty cool deleted scene in the Peter Jackson one where they fall into like that like canyon that's full of giant insects and shit. That's the scene I'm talking about. Yeah, they're shooting Adrian Brody is like unloading his fucking Tommy gun into giant beetles.
Yeah, that's not a deleted scene. That's in the movie.
Maybe it's extended or something. I remember it being a lot longer.
I'm gonna have to watch it.
Yeah, it's good.
It's a pretty good film,
dude. I'm telling you, man, the Jackson King Kong, like, still to this day holds up.
Is this like the original, or is this like an older?
It's a
This
remake of the original, but it probably came out in like
it's like
2000.
it's the first of the modern remakes because
But
there's
it's-
it's
yeah, but it's not-
before Skull
Before
Island.
Kong.
Yeah, it's before Kong. It is it's like the first time they remade it since the like 80s remake with Jeff Bridges.
Yeah.
It's the first like King Kong like remake, and it's still like at Universal Studios. It's still a part of their ride.
No
I think it was like it must have been when we probably like late high school, like we had graduated already, and it was back when like games were still coming out. I think for like 64, like N64,
2005.
So right at the end of high school, basically, like really good.
And it was so the newest universe for like King Kong and Godzilla and everything, that's the Montauk universe, and that's the Universal Monsters reboot.
Yeah,
so
Universal Monsters.
They were
Mothra
trying
and all them.
Yeah. They were trying Dark Universal Monsters, and something else, and the Dark Universe kind of flopped because the Mummy. Apparently, the Mummy. Not a lot of people like the Mummy film. I actually really do like
the one
Mummy
with Tom
film,
Cruise.
Yeah,
so bad.
Well, I like Sophia Bottinol, the chick who plays the Mummy. So.
Yeah, she was good, but I don't know. You can't beat the like Brendan Fraser, Indiana Jones.
Oh, I know,
dude.
100%. I like those films for different reasons. The Brendan Fraser Mummy franchise is the Mummy franchise that I like the most. But
so much.
Fucking Tom Cruise talking to his dead friend the entire time is pretty hysterical.
No, I mean, like it had its merit, but yeah, it was a flop. They tried to launch it and it failed. Like Godzilla was cool. I really liked the Godzilla remake.
Yeah,
but
they didn't stick enough to horror to make the Mummy stick out as different enough.
Yeah, if they would have focused just completely on making that a horror, it would have been way better. They made it too much of an action movie, and it wasn't meant to be.
Was it supposed to be a remake of the Brendan Fraser Mummy?
No,
series,
it was supposed to launch Dark Universal, which was going to be like they introduce Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Oh, so it's like classic Mummy. It's like Mummy, not like
they introduced almost all of them.
The Thing, like Swamp Thing, like shit like that. Okay, gotcha.
So I think they were going to make a Swamp Thing too.
What's his name? Russell Crowe is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in The Mummy, and the guy that they go to the library at one point. The chick goes to the library at one point and talks to the Wolfman. You don't know it's the Wolfman at the time, but she talks to who is supposed to be the Wolfman.
Yeah, I got lost because of that whole like C-130 scene where the airplane it's like the airplane's crashing and like Tom Cruise survives, and it's like, dude, like come on, like.
But he survives because he's already dead.
Yeah,
like, that's the whole point.
Yeah,
he's already.
I need to watch it again because I could not get into it the first time I watched it, and I was like, this is bad, and then I stopped. I like lost focus.
The zombies are pretty good in it. I don't even know if you call them zombies, but like the zombies are kind of neat in it. But yeah, I think the big thing that suffered from is like we all immediately compared it to the Brendan Fraser
Mummy,
film.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
which is like 100% still like I'll watch that like 3 times a year.
I love that movie.
Oh, it's such a great fucking movie.
Rick O'Connell, like that dude is like my hero. Like
yeah,
like Rick O'Connell, dude. He's just fucking just the whole time. He's just like. Blah, 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 blah. So anyway, I started blasting.
I absolutely, it's 100% the like pulp epitome of I'm gonna shoot it a bunch. That's the way to solve every problem.
He just shoots and hits everything. I love it. Anyway,
your faith gives me faith.
To wrap up on Catachan. The threat of disease is a constant hazard on Catachan, as there are many kinds of poxes and fevers that can kill within only hours. Many of the planet's native insects also carry virulent diseases on top of being venomous, meaning that a single bite can be lethal in more ways than one. The world does not just breed diseases in its fauna. Most of the more dangerous microbes cannot be seen at all, either floating through the air or existing in the water until they find a host and enter the bloodstream. There are swamps where a single breath of fog will burn a person's lungs out, causing a long and agonizing death. Even the water itself can prove fatal to drink as diseases and poisons flow through it. Foot rot can occur after a few weeks in the jungle, where the foot will actually rot off and detach from the leg, producing a vomit-inducing stench. Many Catachans consider diseases to be the greatest enemy than even those animals, plants, beasts, or monsters that they find on their world. 100% like everything about Vietnam turned to 11.
I feel like Catachan, it's not only about survival, but also about luck. Like
And
if you
enduring.
if you have shitty luck, like
You're just not going to make it.
You're just not going to make it. Like there's nothing you can do about a lot of these things. A lot of them are outside of your power. So
Yep. That's why those that do survive, you know, if you're in the 50% that makes it past infancy, and then you're in the 50% that makes it past 10, they're like, congratulations, welcome to the guard. They're like, you've already seen some of the worst shit in the galaxy. There's nowhere we can send you where you're not going to be like, yep, this is just Tuesday.
Like, please just get me off this fucking planet.
Anything. Send me to Katie. I don't care that it's a bunch of rocks.
Right? I'll live on a little rock. It's fine.
I heard Pluto's nice this time of year.
Anything's better than fucking murder cloths.
Yeah, that face eater is probably one of my most favored, like, what the fuck creatures I've ever read about.
That is great.
And I've known about them for years because they're in the 3rd edition Catachan Splat, the really skinny codex. It's one of the like little tiny, you know, mini sidebars. And I was like, what the fuck? And then of course, like, people model them. People fucking make trees with little like pieces of paper hanging in the trees. Like you said, it looked like a bunch of pieces of burnt toast in a tree.
It did.
That was some dude that just made a bunch of face eaters hanging in a tree.
Toast. Yeah, I think the barking toads are probably my favorite.
The barking toads are pretty great.
The barking toads are pretty great.
Just serenading the woman you love to the sound of barking toads going off in the distance.
That's why I'm curious, like, what the death cry is.
What if they had like a little mini scream when they scared themselves?
Oh, like that little tiny like frog that
exactly
that screeches super
Well, it's
loud.
just like you just hear like they're like, boom.
It's the last thing you'll ever hear.
Yeah.
Well, you guys know this from fucking. We all know this from having lived in Southern California for a period chunks of our life. You know when you just hear everything going off, all the artillery going off.
Yeah.
It's just barking toads cooking off in the night.
Just boom. You're like, oh, there goes another one.
Hope no one was around.
Somebody spooked him.
At least 2 kilometers away, we'll be all right.
I felt it more than heard it. We're fine. All right, guys. Well, that will wrap it up for our coverage of the planet of Catachan. As the Regiment of Catachan are one of my favorites, I'm sure that we will do more regiment-focused content at some point in the future. As we mentioned, Catachan has been around since the earliest days of Rogue Trader. So if you want to continue this conversation, you can get into contact with us in several different ways. One of those ways is to reach out to us by email at underthehiveofmadness@gmail.com or jimdarkgaming@gmail.com. You can also join our growing community on Discord. Not only can you talk to us about lore, the hobby, and the tactics of Warhammer 40k, but you can get involved in topics spanning everything from Age of Sigmar all the way up to the video games that we are currently playing.
So much video games.
Lots of video games. Dark Tide being one of them.
Mm.
You can also find us around the internet on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and several other social media platforms. You can also look up our website, which is www.underthehiveofmadness.com. If you'd like to help the podcast grow, do so by liking and reviewing us wherever you get your podcast fix. Spotify and Anchor FM are our home, but we are also on Apple, Google, Stitcher, and many, many more. If there's a podcast network that you like that we are not part of, please reach out to us by email and let us know, and I will get us registered as quickly as I can. You can also find us on Patreon at www.patreon.com/underthehiveofmadness. All Patreon members get access to video podcasts with minimal editing, so you can see our beautiful faces and hear all of our amazing blenders. All Patreon levels also get access to our quarterly painting contest, plus we have all sorts of other perks at higher levels. I definitely recommend that you head on over and check that out. Frank's Rocket Truck, the only place in the Hive where you can get a rat meat chimichanga and a discount on warheads. He tells me if you buy 4, the 5th is always free. Continuing to shred our way through the tangled undergrowth of injustice, we are the Prometheum-fueled chainsword-wielding Hellions, deep in Inmodus's side. 665.66 UHMR Chemrat Radio. Reminding all of you Chemrats, Hive Mice, and some ghoulies to keep those dials fixed right here on the same ratty frequency so we can bring you the same dose of ratty-ass attitude.
You know what they say about a 4-armed emperor? If it screams and then explodes, it's probably a barking toad.
Goddamn motherfuckers are always popping off.
Fucking butthole toad.